Hello, it's Graham again from Tutor to You, and welcome back to Edexcel A-Level Business Grade Booster. In this video, we're just going to do some activities relating to the pre-release, which relates to Paper 3, Investigating Business in a Competitive Environment. So here's our first activity. Think for a minute. The Edexcel A-Level Business Specification highlights 6 pricing strategies that you need to be familiar with. Can you name them all? Please pause the video now while you have a think of them or write them down. Okay, then here we go. So the pricing strategies identified and highlighted on the Edexcel A-Level Business Specification are cost plus, which is calculating the markup on unit cost, price skimming, penetration pricing, predatory pricing, competitive pricing, and psychological pricing. And often students do get mixed up between price skimming and penetration pricing. So be careful of those two in particular. Okay, let's look at our first extract and business, as well as an exam style questions. We've got extract A here, PJP Sports, which is a small independent sports retailer located in Sunderland. It sells a range of sportswear and equipment catering for sports such as running, swimming, cricket, rugby and football, and we can see that it uses a competitive pricing strategy. Okay, then here's our exam style question, which is assess the value of competitive pricing to PJP Sports, and this is worth 10 marks. So we need to remember that in a 10-mark assess question, we need to provide balance as well as a supported judgment. For the purposes of this activity though, all I'd like you to do is think of one reason why competitive based pricing may be of value to PJP Sports, and then offer a counter argument. So think of why competitive pricing may not be of value to PJP Sports. So you might want to pause the video now while you think of or write down some possible reasons and unpause to run through some suggestions. So here's what we've come up with, and remember there are lots of different arguments you could have made. These are just 2 of them. So one reason why competitive based pricing may be of value to PJP Sports is that it allows PJP Sports to set a price that is in line with the competition, such as JD Sports. By having a price in line with the competition, it doesn't put PJP Sports at a competitive disadvantage against other sports retailers who may have brand loyalty. This may allow PJP Sports to compete more effectively with their much larger rivals. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is an assess question, so we need balance. However, a reason why competitive pricing may not be of value to PJP Sports is that PJP Sports may find it difficult to make adequate profit margins, as competitive pricing may not take into account costs. Competitors such as JD Sports may benefit from huge economies of scale, allowing them to reduce costs and set lower prices. As PJP is a small independent business, it may not benefit from economies of scale, meaning that setting the same prices as the likes of JD Sports could result in low profit margins, as it may have higher costs. Now remember, in an actual exam question such as this, you must provide a supported judgment at the end of your response. All 10 and 12 mark assess questions need a supported judgment. Okay, next activity now. This is called Give Me 3. You have the time it takes the music to stop to think of 3 factors that determine the most appropriate pricing strategy for a particular situation. Okay then, so let's have a look at some possible answers. So we've got the number of USP stroke the amount of differentiation. That is a factor that may help determine the most appropriate pricing strategy for a particular situation. We've got the price elasticity of demand and the level of competition within the business environment. So some other factors that determine the most appropriate pricing strategy. We've got the strength of the brand, stage in the product life cycle, and costs and the need to make a profit. And that concludes this video where we've looked at some activities relating to this year's pre-release, which relates to paper 3, which is investigating business in a competitive environment.